What's up, 24, what you know, what you know? How y'all doing today? So look, today I want to talk about Terrence Howard. So for those who don't know, Terrence Howard was on Joe Rogan, right? And if you don't know, Terrence Howard is a super genius. Terrence Howard isn't just an actor, right? He is a super duper genius, not just a genius, right? This man is a physicist. He's an organic chemist. Man, this man probably a brain surgeon, man. I'm telling you, man, it's deep. But he recently did a interview, on Joe Rogan. It was about a 3-hour interview. And it still wasn't nearly enough time for this man to explain his theories. It's crazy. So I'm not going to talk about Joe Rogan on the show. I'm not going to talk about Terrence Howard on the show of Joe Rogan. I'm going to rewind back 5 years ago when he was at Oxford University when he first initiated these theories, right? So the first theory he came up with, he says that we've been learning our multiplication tables wrong. 1 times 1 ain't 1. 1 times 1 should be 2. He also says that 0 times 12 ain't 0. It should be 12. And he said this is the glitch in the banking system and all that. He gets deep into all this stuff, right? But we're not going to talk about none of this stuff, right? We're going to talk about one spiritual concept, right, that he talked about. So this spiritual concept is about the destiny. So people asked him, man, Terrence, how did you come up with these theories, man? We know you as an actor. We just know you is on Get Rich or Die Trying, Power. Come on, fam. You got to tell us, man. You come on. You was just in your spare time, just mad scientist. What's going on? So he was like, in my past lives, I was studying this stuff. So in this incarnation, meaning that when he was in his mother's womb, he was like, boom, oh, where am I at? I'm here. Okay, I got another chance. Don't forget these theories. Don't forget your purpose. Don't forget your destiny, right? He vowed not to forget. So this is a very, very, very spiritual, significant theory. Excuse me. This theory is something when you go into different places like in Africa, in West Africa, in Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Maui. When you go to the spiritual traditional parts, right, they talk about this particular theory. And they said when you're in your mother's womb, before every human being is born, they make a vow to do something that has to do with their destiny. Now, some make a vow that's big. Those who have big destinies, here to do great things, change the world. Some make smaller vows, right? Depending on, everyone's different. But nonetheless, you make this vow. This is what they talk about all over Africa and even other parts like China and certain parts, right? The spiritual traditional parts, they talk about this, right? This is something extremely foreign to the West, right? So I thought that was very significant, him talking about this. But do I trust Terrence Howard now since he's, he came with this spiritual truth that I'm so, ecstatic about? Hell no, man. So one of the things that I did see, right, in his interview at Oxford, right, 5 years ago, he had on a black and red shirt, right, with a rose on his left side by his heart. Now, with me, I understand symbolism. I know what that could mean. Now, what some people mean is like, oh, he's trying to represent, the flower of life. That's his whole thing, his theory. The flower of life. That's why he wore that flower. That's what made him pick that shirt out. No, I don't think so. I think Terrence Howard, right? Basically, he's not necessarily a Mason, but he's a Rosicrucian, right? People understand, right? The rose represent Rosicrucianism, right? These are the spiritual Masons, right? Because we know that with Masonry, mostly, they get people from all different religions, right? But the Rosicrucians, man, they spiritual metaphysics, boy. They all with that. So that's what I believe that he probably is. Could be wrong, though. That's my theory, but 9 times out of 10, I'm right. He's a Rosicrucian, right? So that already is like suspect to me, So he's not my, philosophical comrade. He's not my buddy, right? I don't consider that, just because he given that spiritual truth. Now, for those who look into a lot of things that's in the esoteric world of spirituality and metaphysics, right? From what my experience is, there's a lot of things to hook you into a certain niche or, a certain, a dogma or a certain belief or group, So the way they come to you they'll initiate with you a truth, right? Sometimes this truth, right, is half truth. Sometimes it's completely false, but everything under that truth that they talk about, right, might be true, might be, more or less true. Or they'll come to you with a spiritual truth and then and to throw you off, give you just BS, philosophy. So one of the things that Terrence Howard, he talks about is, he says that, he goes into this whole thing of him being a god, him and, Billy Carson, I'm a god, I'm a this, I'm a god, that, Let me ask you a question, right? If you build a car, can that car say it's a human being just because you built it? Think about that. Can that car say, oh, I'm a human being built me. So this whole thing of us being, well, I'm part of God because God created me, you know what I'm saying? And okay, that might be, in essence, a little bit true, but does that make you actually a God? I don't think so. And look, let me tell you something. I don't ever think that I'm hating on y'all who talking about y'all gods and goddesses and divine beings and stuff like that, because I've been there. But I'm looking for truth. What is truth? What is the most logical and honest thing spiritually when it comes to that? That's my main point, not just holding on to a particular belief, right? So when we talk about this, right, we dealing with the bullshit ass English language, man. Equivocal, a lot of y'all word wizards and shit, and y'all know how to play with these words, so we gotta explain everything nowadays, man. We gotta explain everything. So what does it mean? What is a God? What does it mean to be a God, right? God is all powerful. A God is spirit. A God is immortal, right? A God lasts forever. A God is pure, right? So we have to understand that human beings, we're flawed. We're very, very, I don't care how strong we are, right? We're very delicate. Human beings can get crushed and killed easy, right? Oh, some people say, oh, well, the essence of me is God. The essence of me is God, and I used to be a God, and I used to be a divine being. I was this and I was that. So here's the thing. We have to understand spiritual hierarchy, right? So just say it is true, right? It's true. You were a divine being in the past life, and you decided to be a human being. Well, you have to understand you still have to play by the rules by a human being, right? You still gotta eat, right? You still gotta drink water. You still shit. You still sweat. You still gotta sleep. Is you still play by these rules, right? And you gotta understand, if you are a divine being, right, you chose to come here, you chose to play the spiritual reverse Uno card on yourself, right? You chose to hit the spiritual reset button. You chose to go back to, play cosmic monopoly and go all the way back to start, right? That was your choice, right? But you still have to play by the rules, right? And human beings are not gods. We are mortals trying to build our spirit to be a god, to be divine. So let me ask you, your ancestors, right? Your ancestors are God over you. Meaning, explaining what I mean, right? If all of us right now with ancestors, our ancestors can push the reset button on us right now and it's over with. We done. That's the power of the ancestors, right? But the ancestors aren't gods, right? The ancestors have wisdom. They understand the hierarchy, right? So that your ancestors gave you all your gifts, attributes, virtues that you came with. They says, we're going to give him this and give him that, hoping that you remember them, hoping that you'll recognize them, hoping they can fight beside you in this journey, right? And if you don't, they let you go about your little merry way, They said, hey, they understand the times. They know the times and shit that's going on better than we do, right? So we have to understand that. So if your ancestors aren't gods, considered gods, you the fuck sure ain't. And I'm not hating on y'all who's saying that y'all gods or nothing. And no, I'm not scared to declare that I'm a god and all that. But it's my job as a man and a spiritual being is to be realistic. We have to understand that there are consequences to holding on certain beliefs, right? This is a part of karma. So if you believe that you're a god or a goddess, right, in that way, that you are on the same level as the creator, we got to stipulate that you are a divine being is the same as, what divine beings are, what we name as divine beings, right? We got to know that there's consequences, that you are out of alignment, right, with the earth. You are out of alignment with the divine. You are out of alignment. So you being out of alignment, there's certain chaos is going to happen in your life in some shape, form, or fashion. And believe me, I'm not wishing anything bad on you. I'm just telling you spiritual truth, right? Even people who are atheists, right? People who are just straight out atheists. I'm not talking about agnostics, but atheists, right? Because agnostics, they just slid on the line where they just say, they go, well, I don't know. But when you straight out say that God doesn't exist, divine doesn't exist, then you're going to bring chaos in your life too. So we have to understand these things, right? And it really doesn't matter in what way we believe in God, right? If we believe in a monotheistic God, if we believe in many gods, it doesn't matter. But if we don't have the right view of ourselves between God, if we blame God, if we hate God, we're going to have certain things that's in our life, right? If we blame God for our problems, certain things that bring spiritual chaos, right? And it depends on what way, depends on who we are. So this is one of the things that they're coming to us with these theories and stuff like that. They'll come to you with truth, but then they'll come with, same old bullshit. So we have to be aware of these things, right? All right, so I will talk to y'all later, and hit me up in the comments.